Like every other form of entertainment, anime shares an excessive amount of cliches more than anyone would think. And you know what's funny? As much as I know these ideas and concepts are so trite, I still manage to love anime so damn much. Here's my top 10 recurring anime cliches. Number 10. Confusing, cliffhanger, or read the manga endings. Out of everything else on this list, this is probably the one that pisses me off the most. When this sort of ending occurs, I really feel like the hours I spent watching wanting to know what happens to the characters in the storyline gets taken away from me while flipping a middle finger at me. There's those endings where it's on a cliffhanger so terribly executed that we get this reaction when watching. Then there's those endings where it relies on so much symbolism that you wouldn't understand it. And as for read the manga endings, I know they don't want to make an anime base of it because then every anime would be too long and people run away from it. Not to mention the fact that they'll lose sales on selling manga because herp derp, most people want to see moving pictures rather than black and white stills. Number 9. Sudden pauses and long conversations during an intense battle, having flashbacks and pretending the opponent isn't there. If you think hard enough on this one, it's actually quite hilarious. Just imagine what the antagonist is doing while the protagonist is in flashback mode, or doing a pointless transformation sequence we've seen 200 times already. Is he picking his nose or scratching his dingleberries during all this? Seriously, what the fuck are they doing? It's the perfect time to strike. Ha! Logic. Number 8. Pointless nagging female character that is just there to piss you off throughout the whole series. For all you girls and women that's watching this, know that I'm not being sexist in any way. Just know this is coming from a guy who watched Peach Girl and Nana and actually felt some emotion for some of the characters. This cliche is most common in shonen series. Example of this cliche would be Sakura from Naruto, Orihime from Bleach, Nami from One Piece, Asuka from Neon Genesis Evangelion, Sakura from Naruto, Aoi Misara from Tokyo Majin, Kishimoto from Gantz, Eri from School Rumble, and fucking Sakura from Naruto. Even though there's some males who are annoying to the point you want to break your own neck off, why does 90% of the time have to be females for this kind of character? I mean, there's other uses for these characters, right? Like making a main character sandwich. What? Come on, you saw a joke coming sooner or later. Number 7. Filler hot spring episode, beach episode. What I mean by filler are episodes that you watch thinking something is going to develop the characters or story, but then you realize it was as pointless as trying to find a shiny quarter in a pile of shit in a McDonald's bathroom toilet. Hot springs and beach episodes are there just to show how skilled they are in drawing and animating
Boobies!
of a character they know weeaboos would enjoy fapping to. As much as these episodes are so horrible, sometimes they're just so hilarious to watch due to how bad they are. In other words, it's so bad it's good. Then there's flashback fillers, where they decide to show the events that happened in the past where most of the time we've seen 400 times. And this gets so repetitive to the point that you end up just not caring anymore due to how annoying it is. And it's kind of funny because Naruto pops up in anyone's mind right when I mention flashback fillers. Number 6. Main characters sitting beside the window in high schools. Out of all the cliches on this list, this is easily the most obscure one. Because everyone I've asked, they tell me they never realized it until I told them. The reason why I think barely anyone noticed it is because it's not even important due to the fact they're concentrating on the characters or the story itself. I know I'm being a picky bastard, but seriously, what the fuck? You'd think the main character would sit on the middle or in the front, or maybe even near the doors. But no! It has to be near the windows! Well, guess what, guys? I just made you realize something so important. Now you're going to pay attention to where the character sits during class every time you watch an anime. Aren't I cool? Number 5. Cleavage fan service. I'm sure everyone saw this one coming. Now, I'm not saying fan service automatically makes a show bad. Having High School of the Dead on my list is living proof of that. It's just sometimes I feel like the
Boobies!
get in the way of the actual story. Also, there's men who get offended because technically the creators are implying we're just a couple horny bastards. Women get offended also because they think men will get the idea that they're stupid as this in real life. When they're obviously not. Because if men try to do anything to touch them in real life like that, there's a very high chance this might happen. Yeah. Ouch, right? There's also good shows like Code Geass where sometimes the mood gets ruined because the creators think it's so necessary to show C2 and Callan's ass while they hop into mechs. Then there's shows like Ikitosen where it has such a good story and concept, but the fan service is so horrible that if a character drops a feather on their shirts, it'll rip, causing them to flash some
Boobies!
Number 4. Some male character getting beat up for supposedly doing something perverted. While I do think sometimes it's hilarious, this can be really aggravating at times, because mostly the guy doesn't even do this on purpose. I kind of don't like this, because this makes the girls in anime seem conceited. Sometimes I wish I could just hop into the screen and say straight up to her, "Bitch, you ain't all that. Just stop." And the girls in anime are way embarrassed about everything and are way too sensitive. It's like, "Hey, how are you doing today? Want some help with your homework? Hey, there's a bug on your shoe. My nose is bleeding because you keep punching me." Now, there are cases where I feel the guys do deserve to get beaten up, like Kanta from Desert Punk, because he's an asshole that treats women like shit. But I wonder what would happen if one of these scenarios happened in real life. Because as we all know, in anime, sexual harassment is not met with arrest and lawsuit. They're met with violence and sending the pervert into orbit. On another note, why is it okay if a girl is a pervert, but if the guy is, then it's wrong and creepy? I don't know, just saying. Number 3. Plot armor. By plot armor, I mean where a certain character is about to die and it's impossible to win. Then suddenly his or her special powers get unleashed, causing victory just for the sake of continuing the story. Or where a character survives ridiculous situations, like Goku could throw 5 spirit bombs at Luffy and somehow he'd survive it. Just once, I'd like to see the main character die off early in the show, and somehow it'll still be good enough to continue. Oh, go away! Stop proving me wrong, goddammit. Number 2. Unnatural hair color. Come on, do I even need to explain this one? I don't mind this at all, but you'd ever think that the other characters would question why their natural hair color is blue or something. For example, if I was in Higurashi, I would look at Mion and say, "Oh, look, green hair." If someone in real life had natural green hair, they'd be considered monsters. I don't know, this cliche is pretty self-explanatory because you'll see it in almost any anime. And my number 1 anime cliche is death of parents or siblings. It doesn't matter what you've seen. There will always be a main character in the series that will have a parent or parents that have passed away. And if they already haven't passed away, they will die later on. Not just that, sometimes they're missing or they claim is dead, but later it is revealed that they're still alive somehow. This is usually an overused form of plot device to develop the story of characters. You'd think there could be an anime where all the characters have their parents alive and well, because I sure as hell want to see what they're like as living, breathing characters. Okay guys, tell me what your biggest cliche in anime is, because I'd like to know.